Winscribe, we used to use an analogue dictation system, and that comprised really just working with cassette tapes. You'd get about 2 hours on a tape, and typically the lawyers would dictate everything they wanted to say until they filled that tape up. Now, the idea behind it is that you then give the tape with the file to the secretary, and she sits and does audio typing all day. Now, one of the challenges with that was that tapes would often break. So if they'd done all the dictation, given the tape across, the secretary goes to transcribe it, tape's broken, they've lost all the content. And also the fact that only one person could use that tape at one time. So if they'd recorded 10 items on there, they had to literally wait until they'd completed the whole lot before they could pass it on to someone else. So it worked, it was just the way it was. What we wanted to move to was a system that was clearer, and with digital you get that. And also the fact that you could actually share the dictations. It didn't have to stay with one person. And one of the issues we had was, as I said before, that if they dictated 10 items on a tape but then passed that over, there was actually a lot of wasted time there. So by moving to digital, it meant that they could dictate one item at a time. When they've dictated that item, they can then send that straight across to the secretary for transcription. So actually things were getting done a bit faster. Nowadays, the way that we operate in terms of the ratio of secretaries to fee earners is completely different. So in some departments you might have 6 fee earners working with only one secretary. So it means they've got to get the work through. They can't wait for everyone to finish all their jobs and then send it through in one go, because they'd have very quiet mornings and very busy afternoons. So now typically they'll dictate and just send it through. So the workflow is actually, the process is actually quite, I guess it's quite calm. It sort of comes through, and if there's something that's more of a priority, they can actually stop one and start the next without an issue. And also it means that you can share. So if a secretary is inundated and something else is urgent, there's someone who's not so busy, they can actually just pick up the work from the actual system as well. So in terms of we work in a much more efficient way. The dictations are clearer, and also one big thing for us, we've got auditability, because everything is now recorded on the system, so you can actually see where the busiest departments are, who the busiest recorders are, for example, and which secretaries are actually picking up the most work, and then you can look at distribution, see if we can sort of even it out a little bit if need be. Implementing the Winscribe solution for digital dictation was fairly easy. We had, from the secretarial side, they were actually quite looking forward to it. The lawyers, for them, it was a change, and I think if we have to recognise that some people have been dictating with the analogue tape system for many, many years, and all of a sudden you were going to make them do something completely different, which they weren't comfortable with. So aside from training, just some support through floor walking and just reassurance, it actually went through quite easily. Field Fisher Waterhouse chose Winscribe because we were looking for a solution that met certain requirements, and when we looked at the market and we picked several products to do a comparison with, we felt that Winscribe was the most appropriate for our needs. The efficiencies that we've made by installing Winscribe and using digital dictation have really been the speed of the work being turned around. So in terms of the work gets to the secretaries quicker, the secretaries also have visibility of what's in their queue, which they didn't have before, so they can kind of organise themselves better. We have the ability to prioritise, so if there is something that needs to go to the top of the queue, they can actually stop what they've been working on and start the priority one work, as we call it. We've also got the ability now to produce the dictations in many different ways. So if someone's working outside of the office, they can actually dictate on their smartphone or on their BlackBerry device. If they're working at home, then they have a method of actually dictating out of the office and uploading the work into the system from wherever they are. As long as they've got an internet connection, they can do that. So in turn, it's just the turnaround times. Yeah, we find the work's getting through a lot quicker now. It just does what it says on the tin.